What is going on, you guys, and welcome back again on another episode today. How are you all doing? I hope you guys are doing great. And if you're joining us for the very first time as well, thank you so much for being here. Please take a seat. Today's video is actually a very interesting video, but then again, when I came across this video, my jaw literally dropped, because out of everything going on between the Israelis and the Palestinians, this is someone's concern. So this particular creator, she said free Palestine means the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people. And here I am asking myself, if she said free Palestine means the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people, what exactly did she think that the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians right now, if that is our own concern? Because this is literally someone promoting the genocide of people in broad daylight. So let me just roll the clip, and I want you guys to see her reasons, because she said so much in that video, and I would definitely like you guys to hear from the horse's mouth. So without wasting much time, let me roll in what this influencer has to say about what free Palestine means to her.
This is an image of homes in France being marked as Jewish. Are we in early days Nazi Germany? When you say free Palestine from the river to the sea, what are you calling for? The ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people, most of which were born on the land of Israel? I was born in America. I'm an American, yet my mother was born in Moscow. Does that not make me an American because my mother was born in Moscow? Does that make me Russian? No, I'm an American. I was born on this land. Most of the Jewish people were born in the land of Israel. The Israelis were born there. So when you say free Palestine, what do you mean? What do you want to happen to the Jewish people? To what end? From the river to the sea means the ethnic cleansing of half of the Jewish population. That is an ethnic cleansing. You're not calling for a sovereign government for the Palestinian people. You're calling for the erasure of a Jewish state. The only state in the Middle East that's a Jewish state, among many Arab states. The only place that will take me in if the rest of the world persecutes me. The country was founded on Holocaust survivors. When you say that we are white, rich European settlers that came and settled the land, no. Most of the people that came to Israel were in displaced persons camp following continued pogroms and persecutions after the Holocaust, after 6 million of my brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers were killed, slaughtered. What are you calling for? If the Jewish people don't have Israel, where will my people go?
What do you guys think about this lady's video? What are your thoughts about our concern to what is going on between the Palestinians and the Israelis? Because one of the things that makes me happy when I came across her video was the fact that the comment section passed the vibe check. Like, a comment section was filled with people saying from the river to the sea. You can go do whatever the heck you want to do, from the river to the sea, free Palestine. If she thinks what Palestinians are doing is the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people, what exactly are the Israelis doing to the Palestinians? They have been on that land for years. They want to forcefully take over their land, and they're expecting it to be peaceful. If this is a concern, that she can cry us more river. People were coming in because, like I said, that video was very sensitive. Like, how can this be your concern when millions of people are dying in this place? And it's not even like a war going on. It is literally an ethnic cleansing of some certain people, and this is our concern. People are coming in, and I would like you guys to hear what these people have to say about this lady's concern with what is going on and what free Palestine means to her.
Germany? When you say free Palestine,
You know, it's crazy because you might just be right. Because let me show you something. You know what that is? These as Palestinians workers who were these is what they're being used to identify by Israel IDF, by the IDF. This Palestinians worker released after being detained by Israeli tagged with ID numbers. You are right. History is repeating yourself, but this time you are not the victim. You are the aggressor. You are not the victim. You are the oppressor. You're repeating it. You went from being the victim to the perpetrator right now. You're the predator.
if the rest of the world persecutes?
So Zionism has the goal of subjugating and sectioning off a bit of the world to create a state that would always have the interest of Jewish people in mind. And that's an inherently violent prospect because there are Palestinians who don't want to be swept away just so Israel can build its wall against the world. Palestinians want a state that advocates and protects their rights, and sometimes this will come in direct conflict with Zionism. If Palestinians were able or allowed to form their own functioning state that could, let's say, arrest violent militants, then certain IDF members would start getting arrested. It would mean when it came to disputes about evictions and settlements, instead of an Israeli court deciding over it would be a Palestinian court, which, to be fair, sometimes Israeli courts will side with Palestinians. It would mean that you would probably see more favorable outcomes for Palestinians. Although also, to be fair, the current prime minister is pushing for judicial reforms to give him more power over the courts, or more oversight. It would mean that Palestinians would be able to implement their own immigration policy that might benefit them, or shift to people like them who want to return to where they once lived a couple of generations ago. The upside to this is that violent terrorists would start going to jail and be held in Palestinian prisons, or more inherently aggressive people would be able to work out their issues through legal means with a court that represented them. And so when people say free Palestine, they're advocating for a court system and legal system that benefits and protects the rights of Palestinians, as well as other people, such as Jewish people. Probably the best way to curtail terrorism is to give people a functioning state that protects and defends them. And while not everyone on the Israeli side would oppose the formation of a Palestinian state, it's very clear that the formation of a Palestinian state would put a number of stresses and roadblocks on Zionism. Also, there are a number of states that have laws to protect asylum seekers, specifically because of what happened after World War II, or during World War II.
Where will my people go?
Like, you do know that the majority of the Jewish population doesn't live in Israel, right? Also, this is the Likud party charter from 1977. This says between the sea and the Jordan, there will only be Israeli sovereignty, i.e. from the river to the sea, there will be Israeli sovereignty. So are you just like projecting from the river to the sea because this is what the Likud party, the majority party in control of the Israeli government, wants to do, in which they also say there can be no such thing as a Palestinian state because that will jeopardize the security and peace of a Jewish ethno-state? So the only way to rationalize your fear of from the river to the sea is because you are seeing it through the perspective of the Likud party. And the Likud party has famously been always against the two-state solution and always wanting to ethnically cleanse and eradicate the Palestinian people.
Free Palestine, what do you mean? What do you want to happen to the Jewish people?
I've seen this question pop up so much from Zionists. Where will Jewish people go if Palestinians achieve liberation? And it so very much parallels American history anytime Black people have fought for liberation. And white people are just like, well, what are we going to do if you achieve liberation? We see the sentiment during debates about slavery. Like, well, we can't really free the enslaved people because what if they go and kill a bunch of white people, like as vengeance for what we did to them? Or we can't really repeal these Jim Crow laws because, ooh, what if a Black man is working near a white woman and they kind of remember the horrors that Black women experienced during enslavement and decide to, seek retribution that way. Well, my white ass is still here. And to this day, non-white people are still more at risk of violence from white people than vice versa. And if you're curious about those statistics, Google is free. But what this question also shows me is just how unserious Zionists are about the idea of actually living peacefully. Because if you gave a fuck about that, you would have listened to the people being oppressed by Israel and you would have seen what they are asking for. Because what Palestinians are asking for is not the expulsion of all Jewish people. They're asking to actually have some fucking representation, to be counted as citizens so they can actually have some representation and advocate for themselves like everyone else, something that has been routinely denied to them. They're asking for representation instead of being treated as human animals and herded into specific areas to be routinely bombed by America Jr. And if you want to ask where Jewish people are going to go, a safe place for Jewish people to go, you might want to look inside your own house and see the way that Israeli citizens who are using their voice and using their power of speech to advocate on behalf of peace and justice for Palestinian people are being targeted by their government, arrested, and mistreated for using their voice. Because if Jewish people can't even be safe in the state of Israel, which is what we're alleging that is necessary for Jewish people to be safe, then what are you fighting for? My understanding was that all Jewish people are important to the state of Israel, not just the ones who agree with their Zionist agenda. And I, for one, am astonished at the courage and bravery shown by Jewish people who have asked themselves this question: where will I go if Palestinians achieve liberation? And the answer they came up with is alongside Palestinians living in peace, because peace and justice are fundamental to my faith and who I am as a person.
most of which were born on the land of Israel.
Zionist propaganda relies on fear, the fear of actual real liberation. Dismantling an oppressive apartheid state does not entail genocide or ethnic cleansing. And if you want to look into the politics and the history of that, you can look up the history of South Africa and their liberation, or Ireland. But the Zionists believe that freeing Palestine means killing Israelis is just a projection of the Zionist mindset. Because liberating people from an oppressive settler colonialist state does not entail violence, it entails restructure. But when your Zionist belief, built on fear propaganda, tells you that in order for Israeli people to have peace, they have to displace Palestinians, that does entail violence. And when your whole state is founded on displacing, oppressing, incarcerating, and killing the indigenous population, that's actual violence. That's genocide. That's ethnic cleansing. And that's what we're seeing right now. And not just right now, but for the last 75 years, since 1948. Jews were already living in the land of Palestine before Israel was established. Mizrahi Jews are indigenous to the land of Palestine, and yet they are the most persecuted and discriminated against by the state of Israel systematically and legally. Christians were indigenous to Palestine as well. The claim that Palestine was an entirely Muslim state is a false claim, and implying that Palestine would only be safe for Muslims is a false claim. And it's used to feed into fear propaganda, because freeing Palestine from the river to the sea is liberation for all. And you can't have liberation when the foundation of your state is built upon displacing people.
Palestine, what do you mean? What do you want to happen to the Jewish people?
You really asked if Palestinians are gonna kick out all the Jews and ethnic cleanse them in return. As if Jewish people decided to ethnically cleanse the Germans back. No, we just left. Like, truly, if the situation gets solved, and I do hope it does very quickly, because the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians is no joke, and a very awful thing to happen. More than likely, the ideal situation would be the Israeli government gets dissolved, the Israelis stay there, just like white South Africans, but they're not doing apartheid anymore, and everything is fine. Like, they'll live in Palestine. No matter what name the land is under, it's still the Holy Land. The people still live there. But you can't live there in violence and hatred. You can't be oppressing and subjugating people. The idea that ending the war means that Jewish people will get ethnically cleansed, that's not true. And the thing you mentioned with France, the French are unfortunately just evil like that. They love doing that. The French will hop at any opportunity they can to perpetuate racism. That's just who they are as people. But no, they're not going anywhere, ideally. It's not like a situation with Native Americans and Americans, you know, where they would like us to go back, and we probably could. It's not, because especially considering a lot of the Jewish population is Mizrahi or Sephardic, so they're from the area, like, their ethnicity comes from that area. If Jewish people did decide to leave Israel, that's up to them. But the idea that ethnic cleansing on Jewish people is going to happen because of this is ridiculous. It's not correct. And you mentioned you're an American Jew. Me too. That's why I don't give a shit about Israel's government. They can rot, not the people, but the government. The government can rot for all I care. Not my government, I don't give a shit. I have no connection to that place because I'm American. I don't know. It feels kind of ridiculous to me because I know a lot of us are taught to have some connection to Israel. I didn't get that. You just go, oh well, they fuck shit up, that's the consequences. But no, they're not gonna go anywhere. They're not getting displaced. They just live under a Palestinian government. The Palestinian people would have control over their government once again and their people. That's how it should have been the whole time.
What do you guys think about what they all said? She felt like if these people have control over their land, they are going to kill more than half of the Jewish people, and should not even be a thought process at all, if not for how these things have played out. Saying, oh, free Palestine from the river to the sea would definitely means the ethnic cleansing of more than half of the Jewish people. What about the family, the brothers and sisters of people currently being killed in Palestine? These people cry for help and liberation is literally a valid one. So saying all of this in the current situation that is going on right now is not making any sense. If you don't know the correct position of the Palestinian in all of this that is going on, you might as well just use Google instead of being online and just being very selfish. Palestinians have been oppressed and massacred since 1948 and it's still going on till date. Imagine people who have lost their life to these oppressors, and this is what you are here online saying, where will the Jewish people go? What will happen to the Jewish people? Are you calling for the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people? How about the people that are dying daily? There was a particular post that I came across on TikTok. It was a doctor from Palestine whose interview with, I think, a news channel just went viral because they called the doctor and they were telling the doctor, why don't you pack your family, everyone and yourself and go to the south? And this doctor replied and said, do you think I went to the university for 14 years to care about myself alone? The doctor and his family were killed. A lot of people are currently in pain, if not all, are in pain in Palestine now, and you are more concerned about free Palestine from the river to the sea means an ethnic cleansing. What are your thoughts about all of this? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and I am going to see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, and I love you all.